Trying to keep up with AI news lately feels like you're trying to drink from a fire hose, right? One minute there's a wild new model, and the next you're hearing about developers pulling 72-hour work weeks just to keep from falling behind. So, how do you even begin to make sense of it all? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We are going to cut through all that noise, find the real patterns, and give you a kind of map to the four biggest frontiers where AI is making its next big leap. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. That whole 72-hour workweek story, it's not just some crazy headline. It is a massive signal of the incredible speed and, frankly, the pressure inside this global AI race. And yeah, it's sparking a huge debate about the real cost of innovation. But more than anything, it just goes to show how easy it is to get completely lost in the day-to-day headlines. That's why we're here, to zoom out and actually see the big picture. So to get our arms around all this, we're breaking it down into four main themes. First up, we're going to look at how AI is evolving into these autonomous agents. Then we'll get into how AI is becoming the new way we interact with pretty much everything. Third, we'll look at the hardware arms race that's powering it all. And finally, we'll talk about the absolutely critical job of making sure all of this is built safely. Let's jump right into our first frontier. Agents get to work. Now, this is a really fundamental shift in what we even ask AI to do. We're moving away from AI as just a tool that answers a question to AI as an autonomous teammate that you can give a goal to, and it can actually execute a whole complex plan all by itself. And look, this isn't some far-off future stuff. It's happening as we speak. I mean, just look at Goldman Sachs. They're already testing out autonomous agents to handle these incredibly complicated financial workflows, things like operations and compliance. You know, when a powerhouse like that starts digging into this tech, it is officially graduated from being a cool science project to a serious business tool. So what exactly is Agentic AI? Well, the core idea here is that the system doesn't just sit there waiting for your next command. You give it a big, high-level goal, like research our top 5 competitors and write a summary of their weaknesses, and it can reason, plan, and carry out all the little steps needed to get that done. It's less like a super smart calculator and a lot more like having a digital intern. And the vision gets even bigger. Oh yeah, it's not just about one single agent anymore. The real cutting edge now is in creating multi-agent systems. We're talking entire digital teams. You could have one AI that's a specialist in research, another in data analysis, and a third that's great at writing reports. And they all work together, delegating tasks to each other. Suddenly, the challenge isn't just about writing a good prompt, it's about how do you manage an entire AI workforce? And this, of course, brings up a massive question for all of us. When AI isn't just a tool you open on your computer, but a teammate you actually collaborate with, how does that change your job? What skills suddenly become way more important? It's a future that is arriving a lot faster than I think many of us are ready for. All right, let's move on to our second frontier, and you'll see how this all connects. We're calling it your world's new interface. This is all about how that smart, agentic AI is becoming this new, kind of invisible layer that we use to interact with technology, with information, and even with the physical world itself. A perfect example of this is just think about search engines. Google isn't just a list of blue links anymore, is it? It's becoming a dynamic conversation. You can ask it something, then ask a follow-up, and it actually remembers the context of what you were talking about. It's not a query box anymore, it's a real dialogue. And the sheer breadth of this trend is just wild. On one extreme, you have UK soldiers using AI to fuse together a ton of different sensor data into one clear, real-time picture of a battlefield. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have visitors at a botanic garden who can have a conversation with a plant because an AI is translating its sensor data into conversational language. I mean, from national security to a walk in the park, AI is becoming the new go-between. This really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? When you can literally talk to the world around you and get intelligent information back, what does data even mean anymore? It stops being some static number sitting in a spreadsheet and becomes this living, breathing, interactive part of our environment. So here's the thing. Making all of this happen, these autonomous agents, these conversational worlds, none of it runs on magic. It requires an almost unbelievable amount of raw computing power. And that brings us right to our third frontier, the hardware arms race that is the engine driving all of this progress. And in this race, you're seeing two major strategies emerging. On one side, you have NVIDIA, They're betting big on these massive, centralized models living in the cloud, these giant brains that are going to power things like huge robotic factories. And then you have AMD and others who are pushing hard on the AI PC, the idea of putting super powerful AI chips right into our own computers and devices so they can run sophisticated stuff locally without needing the cloud for everything. And all this new hardware isn't just for our gadgets, it's about literally rebuilding our cities from the ground up. There's a new research center in Glasgow, for example, that's combining next-gen 6G networking with AI to create what they call cognitive cities. We're talking about the foundational tech for a world with autonomous cars, truly smart energy grids, where the city itself can sense what's happening and respond in real time. Okay, so we have smarter agents, we have these amazing new interfaces, and we have unbelievable hardware to run it all on. But as this tech gets woven deeper and deeper into the fabric of our lives, it brings us to our fourth and arguably most critical frontier. How in the world do we build all of it safely? To put it as simply as possible, AI has a memory problem. And it's not that it forgets things. Actually, it's the exact opposite. The real issue is that sometimes it remembers things a little too well, and that can create some really big risks. This is a massive area of focus in high-stakes fields like medicine. Researchers are trying to solve something called memorization risk. It's what happens when an AI model is trained on a bunch of sensitive patient data and it accidentally memorizes a specific person's record. Later on, it could inadvertently spit that private information back out. You can see why fixing this isn't just some technical puzzle. It's the absolute key to getting regulatory approval, protecting privacy, and building the public trust we need to even use AI in healthcare at all. Whew, we have covered a ton of ground here, from agents and interfaces to hardware and safety. So let's take a second, pull all four of those threads together, and really look at the complete picture of where AI is at this very moment. So if you're going to remember anything, let it be this. 1. AI is graduating from just being a tool to being an autonomous coworker. 2. It's becoming the main way we talk to, well, everything. 3. A flat-out arms race in computer chips is what's making it all go. And 4. As AI gets more and more powerful, making it safe isn't just a feature anymore, it's the entire foundation. So those are the four big frontiers that are really defining the AI landscape right now. But if that whole 72-hour workweek story taught us anything, it's that this landscape is shifting under our feet at lightning speed, which leaves us with the biggest question of all. If these are the frontiers of today, what in the world are we going to be talking about tomorrow?